Let's face it, life isn't easy. If you're stuck in a bad relationship, betrayed or afraid of tomorrow, financially insecure, or desperate for a breakthrough, you've come to the right place. Dr. Carmen Harra is a renowned psychologist, intuitive, relationship expert, and best-selling author, and she's here to give you the miracle guidance you need. Her new call-in show, Miracle Guidance for Everyday Life, offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Dr. Harra's show aims to eliminate everyday problems, big and small, with topics like healing your relationships, reclaiming your power, achieving better health, dealing with loss, and so much more. Regain the joy, stability, and fulfillment you deserve to feel. Tune in to Miracle Guidance for Everyday Life with host Dr. Carmen Harra, live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and find the answers you've been looking for.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Miracle Guidance. I'm your host, Carmen Harra. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, here on OMTimes Radio, a station that I think it's actually the best. So tonight, we're going to talk about your family. Specifically, how to heal your family dynamic. In the kind of work that I'm doing, and I work as a marriage counselor for many years in New York, I always see people talking to me about how complicated their family situation is, and how the dynamic is so conflictual, so confusing, so complex. So my question was always, why are some families so dysfunctional, no matter how hard they try to be normal? And I've seen people making a lot of effort, to create the stability, the balance, the right communication inside their family. And they were not able to. And in time, they became so upset and so frustrated, and they came to me for counseling. And I came to the realization that one of the elements that makes things difficult in a relationship is called family karma. I remember talking about karma for the last 20-something years, because karma is actually the number one law of the universe. It is considered to be the number one law of spirituality. Now, there are many laws in the universe. The law of attraction that we all heard, the law of harmony, the law of unity, the law of totality, the law of infinite possibilities, the law of non-locality. And then this number one law, the foundation of other laws, that is called the law of karma. Now, karma, what it means, going back to thousands and thousands of years ago, it translates like not necessarily what goes around and comes around. It translates like your action, your intention, your deeds, whatever you put into your own universe. And sooner or later, whatever you plant comes back to you as a reflection of everything that you've been created. And at the end of the day, karma represents the totality of your action and represents your memory. And we are creatures of habits, and we operate on the way the mind was programmed. So if we program in a negative way, since we are very young, from the beginning of our lives, we program inside the family in a certain way, that program will continue to manifest unless we acknowledge the program and try to rewire the brain and create a different program. And why I'm saying that? Because there is this family karma, this program that is transferred to you from your family. Because karma, to me, so this memory, whatever you are dealing with, the situation that you are dealing with, are actually inherited by you. And they're extremely complex, and karma is very powerful. That's why in one of my books, I do talk about family karma, global karma, individual karma, and karmic relationships. So if, let's say, now that we go through the pandemic, you have a very hard time connecting with the people in your life, and you create a situation that becomes karmic, that The danger is that it might tend to repeat, so you disconnect from your spouse because of social distancing, from your mother, from your children, because you want to protect yourself. The danger is that this disconnect will continue to exist in the time ahead and even in the years ahead. So we will be very careful, to go back to the so-called normal in the past. So this becomes our new normality, our new reality. So as I said, family karma can be conflictual, can be difficult, can be dysfunctional, can be confusing, and sometimes can be powerful, can be extremely positive, rewarding. And that's why you see people that have wonderful families, not too many, in which they get along, they support each other, they're there for each other. And families in which you see a lot of hate, a lot of jealousy, a lot of fights, a lot of even a brother killing a brother, this is the history of mankind. Now, when I hear my patient, my clients complaining about their family, I always like to tell them this: no family is perfect, but your family is perfect for your karma. So your family is perfect for your karma, which means, because everybody was asking me, what do you mean by this? I mean that you choose that family. You just didn't come by accident, that family. It was your decision at the soul level, almost like if you believe in the contracts that we made before we enter the physical world. You choose the child who disobeyed, the mother who didn't get along with you, the brother who ran away from home. So in other words, each person in a family has a certain karmic pattern of behavior, a certain karmic is brought into your life for a karmic reason. So everything that happens to us, is a karmic representation of the imprint of what has been happening to us for a long time. And even memories carried from previous lives, if you believe in past lives. Now, what's happening to us globally right now, because there is a global karma, refers to the fact that we are collectively affected by our own actions and decisions through centuries. So what I'm trying to say is that this disease is a karmic disease. So what you see happening to us is just no accident. There is I also believe that is man-made and is not sent by the divine, and I don't think it is something that we can blame the extraterrestrial people, which I was asking in an TV interview whether the extraterrestrial have anything to do with this, or I don't actually believe that this is something that is sent to us by God as a form of punishment, because God is not punishing us. We punish ourselves. And we are self-destructive, and we are acting incorrectly for a very long time towards ourselves, towards our people in our life, towards the planet, towards the animal, towards the rivers, the mountains, the oceans. So, and as you can see, in this pandemic, it's only us suffering, karmically suffering, no one else. So I want you to understand the significance of family karma, because we all want to have stability and balance from the people coming in our life. And that's why the concept of family exists, la familia. The family is your support, is who you rely on. So the bond of family shines through sorrows and through joy. The connection of a parent and a child is a light that cannot be dimmed, no matter the distance between the two. So the parent-child relationship, probably talking about relationships that are family, that represent that karma that I'm talking about, are very powerful at best. They require not only patience, but an understanding of both their psychological and karmic elements. If you take into account the concept of karma, a parent-child relationship, we begin to understand that people can reincarnate, if you believe in that, into a different gender and that parents and children may reverse their role in the next life together. I heard many of my clients telling me, oh, my son, I think he was my father in another life, or my daughter was my mom, or stories like this because of the interaction. It all depends on the karma that is shared among the family member and the way in which it plays out in time. You might not see that at the beginning of their life when we talk about kids, but a child might choose to incarnate on his or her parents in the next life, so to take care of them and return the love that they receive. Or a parent and a child may reincarnate as siblings so that they experience a different dynamic on a more evolved level. That's why we said we are here to learn. We're learning, we're evolving, we're becoming more and more deep and profound and evolve. And through all the pain and suffering, we create the miracle of life. This is one of my favorite quotes. Through suffering, we create the miracle of life. A mother who is not able to love her kid may need to reincarnate as the child, so she experienced the kind of a love before she can extend it to another. So what we fail to achieve in one life, we are kind of indirectly given the opportunity to experience in another time, in a different life. So whatever dynamic it needed to repair or heal, karma will manifest in different lives on earth. That's why I'm a strong believer that one life is not enough to learn. One life is not enough to perfect, to become closer to the divine world. And that's why we establish the concept of time. So we go from life to life to life, till we reach a number that says, okay, you graduated the school of life. And sometimes I'm looking at, and I have two wonderful friends who adopted two kids. Then I always said, well, you guys, have karma with these two children that you've adopted. And so in fact, this child could have been your biological child in a different life. So the connection is no less powerful just because there's no biological connection, because time has elapsed or the soul have reincarnated into new bodies. That's a belief. If you believe in karma, you indirectly believe in incarnation. On the contrary, the need of the two souls to be together also intensified. And another thing that I want to talk to you when I talk about family and when I talk about the karmic imprint that exists between people in a family is talking about children, allowing your children to be free. One word that's inseparable from parenthood is sacrifice. So parents naturally sacrifice. They want to give everything to their kids without limits. We want to give them the world, but how much sacrifice is too much? When you are being too generous or too permissive for their own good, the question mark is here. So when are you going to be too generous? When does sacrifice cross the limit of good parenting? When it comes to granting your parents or a child, when it comes to granting the freedom, you have to weigh the karmic implication of your choices. So it's important to sacrifice without compromise within the healthy boundaries. If you're a parent, do not attempt to interfere with the personal karma of your kids. Let your kids live their own karmic pattern. So if you sacrifice too much, you merge into their karma, and you are not allowing them to live and learn the lesson that they're supposed to learn. So you can actually block them from learning the lesson that they're supposed to learn. So everybody has their own journey, and you have your own journey. And while you can help clear the path of your loved ones, you can carry them on your shoulder down the road. But you're not supposed to. On the other hand, children can sacrifice too much for their parents too, relinquishing their freedom in order to be dutiful and please mom and dad, which is again becoming unhealthy. So the way I'm talking about parenting is you have to see when you cross the line into the unhealthy territory. And that's a very important thing. And so you have to settle and maintain those healthy boundaries. You can do several things to achieve a healthy degree of separation from another, whether you're your parent or your kids, or even your parent or a close friend. So they can negatively influence your well-being. Nobody should influence. So that's why boundaries are significant from the beginning. So you need to evaluate the action you are taking to limit that emotional impact of other people upon you. So don't let anybody interfere crossing those limits and those boundaries. And another thing that you need to do in order to actually repair and heal the dysfunctional relationship that you might have in your family is reflect on your own emotion, because we're such emotional creatures. Our life is dominated by the reptilian brain, by the hypothalamus, and we operate on emotion and feeling. It is then when somebody takes a gun and kills because of those emotional, that emotional overload. So you have to always take a moment in life and ask yourself, do I feel tense, irritable, stressed? Will this feeling create frictions with other people? Because if I am, I'm going to go back from work and I'm going to start fighting with my family without even wanting to do so. So then you have to take that deep breath and clear your mind and allow the cortex to interfere with the hypothalamus so that you don't operate on anger, irritation, frustration, and all those negative emotions. So the way to do it sometimes is very easy. You just take a 5-minute meditation when you detach from your emotion and you relax, and then turn your mood from anxious to balance, to stability, probably even to excitement. And another element that I always recommend is to settle all differences. Because if there is a discord between you and someone else, you don't have to leave it unsettled, because that conflict will grow. Especially if there's a conflict between you, your kid, you, your parent, you, your significant other. All your old problems tend to become reoccurring if they're not understood. That's why karma is something that needs to be processed, embraced, understood, resolved, even deleted if it's negative. So I want you to make a list of every person in your life you have an unresolved conflict. So you're probably listening to the show and you're telling yourself, well, I have a conflict with my mother-in-law, I have a conflict with my older son, I have a conflict with my brother, I'm not talking to him for 20 years. So all of those unresolved conflicts, you have to make a list of those people and promise yourself somehow to resolve those differences. Because if the more you carry those differences in time, you can, the harder it is to get rid of those emotions, those feelings, and those memories. In life, it's good to detach from negative memories by telling other people that you hold no grudges. That's as simple as that. Immediately, like, you feel serenity, and you will be able to forgive. The word forgive means detach. When Jesus said, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing, he wanted to free himself from this low level of consciousness and go in and rise to heaven, to a higher dimension. But it could have been only done. The major lesson of this amazing soul that came on earth 2,000 years ago was to actually teach us to forgive, to detach, to remove ourselves from holding on to hatred and anger and negative action, and to release everything so that you reach your freedom. And also refrain from provocation. There's no need to give up by pushing somebody's button. I'm going to a break, and I'll be back with you guys, and I have a lot of people on calls, so I'm going to take your calls and answer all your questions. Thank you so much for listening.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
And I'm back talking about how to heal relationships and how to heal relationships with the world around us, how to make peace with everything we've done through centuries and acknowledge what we did wrong, how to detach from dysfunctional situation and create a different dynamic within ourselves, with the world around. And I do believe that at this point in time, we need to redefine life on Earth, and that's exactly what's going to happen. If everybody thinks we're going to go back to the way we used to live before, you should think again, because that's not going to happen, in my opinion. And that is actually a blessing. And the day will come when we will acknowledge that this virus was, as I said, some kind of a karmic disease that had to happen to teach us something major, and to create a better world. I'm a firm believer of that. But I'm going to go to Pam from New York. Hi, my wonderful Pam. Pam, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, my lovely Pam. How are you, my beautiful friend? I love you so much.
I love you too. Listen, thank you for your testimony regarding family, especially when some of us are apart from family and some of us are with family, and we have these additional dramas that we work out. I have a quick question.
Sure.
And it's only, how can we put aside the ego to go to somebody, and even if you don't perceive yourself as being wrong, you tell them, I'm sorry for what happened? How do you put your ego aside and just move forward?
That's very common happening, and it happens a lot within very close family connection, like mother-daughter, and sometimes it happens with your closest relative, with your closest friends. Because we without realizing, you know what I mean, the human race is drawn to envy, to conflict. And envy is like a green-eyed monster, that makes you miserable, seeing other people happy, and you, on the other hand, are completely ego-generated, ego-centered, And when you operate on your ego, you will never find peace. You will never heal. You will never create harmony in a relationship. So you detach from ego in the moment when you work on your own evolution. And when you acknowledge that ego makes you miserable, makes you self-centered, makes you alone, makes you lost, with no satisfaction. So the whole universe around you, when you operate, ego is the low level of consciousness. The lowest level is ego. After that is the soul. At the higher level is considered to be the self. Now, when we are on earth, we are forced to to go from ego into the soul and the self. So there are many lessons that we need to experience in order to go through the evolution, through the process of letting go of the ego. If we don't want to, we will be forced, you know. There are situations and circumstances that humanity or us individually go through in order to raise consciousness and cross the barriers of ego and elevate the spirit to forgiveness and unconditional acceptance and unconditional love. Because if you let go of the ego, you're capable of doing things unconditionally. If it's all ego, it's all about you. And people that have higher ego, and we see that even in position in the government, in the position of power, and they all care about themselves. They don't care about us collectively, you know. The way they emphasize a problem, it's me, 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 me. A person who has a high level of ego is somebody you should feel very sorry. Those are people we should pity, because those are people that have no wisdom, no desire to evolve, and their life becomes stagnant. So how do you let go of the ego? You acknowledge that you have the ego. And that's very hard sometimes to do for people who are so self-centered into themselves. So people who acknowledge I have an ego about this person and I put my own interests first and I see the situation through my own perspective. But if I want to really change it, then I'm willing to accept that I'm doing something wrong. And the moment I'm giving up on my ego, the big door opens. Then there is room for communication. There is room for a better connection. There is room for you feeling better about yourself. And an infinite possibilities are starting to happen to you as an individual. That's why there's nothing better than letting go of the ego and embracing your soul and your higher dimension of you, who is the self. Do you think I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. You always do, and that's why I like to ask questions where you could get a lot of benefit. Everybody could get something out of it, so thank you.
Okay, my Pam. And how's everything with you? You're in New York, no?
Yes, I am in the belly of the beast, but everything is going fine. I stay inside.
I love how you say the belly of the beast. You're looking beautiful. I saw your picture on Facebook, and I sent a big heart and like it.
I saw it last night.
I love you, Pam. You're so dear to me. I mean, I learned from you. I learned from you unconditional love. I learned from you how amazing it is to bring a child into your life who's not necessarily biologically linked to you, but he is your karma, you know, and you, both of you are learning, you know, what it is that both of you need to work on in order to create that healthy, that powerful connection that is way more powerful than a biological connection, because karma is way more powerful than biology. So I really applaud you, Pam, for doing that. And you taught me so many wonderful lessons in life, and I cannot, you know, I took this opportunity in front of the people listening to express my love and my gratitude to you, Pam. You've been an authentic, beautiful friend for so many, many years, 25, 30 years of friendship. That is amazing.
It's been a long time.
I love you, my Pam.
I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.
Anytime.
I'm on a plane.
Fabulous.
Okay, thank you.
I'm looking forward to see you. I love you, Pam. Okay. So I'm going to go to Bobby in Texas. Hi, dear Bobby. How are you?
Oh, hi there, Carmen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Very well. How are you handling everything, my dear?
Well, you know, overall, I think I'm doing a pretty good job. And then, of course, I feel, I mean, when I'm in my home, I'm most peaceful. And then when I have to get out, I do feel anxiety rise. And then I just do whatever I think I need to do to, you know, minimize and shift that anxiety.
Minimize the risk,
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And, you know, practice the best hygiene that I can while I'm out.
Right.
And then when I get home as well, But, you know, I was listening to you at the beginning of the show, and I just thought, wow, what a wise person you are, because it's just, it's like I got everything you were saying about, you know, the imprint and the karma. And I don't necessarily understand everything about karma, but certainly I could resonate with everything that you were saying, and I feel like, oh my God, that's just me. You're just talking about me, my family, me and my son, me and my mother.
Yes. I think, Bobby, that whatever is happening to us is perceived differently in the world right now. Everybody feels this in a different way. And a lot of people who they don't know, they don't have a good relationship with themselves, they go lost in this moment. They completely developing severe anxiety, panic disorder, circulatory problems. I heard people who have a heart attack, or young people, you know, because of the severe anxiety can lead to a heart attack. So,
right.
But that has to do with, you know, life is what you respond to the way it happens to you, something happens to you. So if something bad happens to you, you need to know how to respond. That everybody responds differently. So there's something in the world that is happening everywhere in the world with a different response. Even you look at countries, you know, countries that respond differently to this epidemic. Sweden that said, well, we don't care, we're just going to be open. You know, countries who took measures right away, and they were way more efficient in stopping this virus. And then collectively, individually, like you said, you pay more attention, but probably a lot of other people, they act careless. Then they don't care. One of the person that I counseled for many years got the coronavirus, I'm giving you an example, in an elevator. And then what he did to me was completely wrong, but I'm not necessarily judging, but I'm just thinking out loud. So he went and took a cab, knowing exactly as the virus. He gave the virus to the cab driver. He gave the virus to the people who took the cab after him. Didn't even wear a mask, so because he was so overwhelmed by his misery and the fact that he got the virus, that he was totally irresponsible, you know what I mean? And I found it so interesting how people respond differently to responsibility that they have in this world towards their fellow man. You know, they completely reckless and not careful. And I applaud you that you are careful, and I think that you really are. But there's another thing, don't be afraid of it, because when you're afraid, you draw that situation to you. You bring it in, you know. And when you're more calm and relaxed and we operate on no fear, then your chances of acting more conscious are way higher, you know, and being more aware. So I really advise everybody, stop the fear and try to stay calm and try to find something meaningful in this. And try to work within yourself. And like you said, make a list of all the people in your life. See who you get along, who you don't. Try to see what it is that you wanted to do in your life that you never succeeded so far. Is there something that you can change? How are you going to walk away from this epidemic into becoming a different person? Because this lesson is teaching everybody what they need to learn. And I'm going to ask you what it is that you think you're learning from this, because you really are learning something. You might learn gratitude. You might learn, I need to turn my life around. You might learn, I need to work on my relationship. You might learn, I don't need to be in this house. I need to move. I need to create a different life. So everybody has a goal in mind as a result of this moment of deep and profound reflection. So I don't know if you want to answer this to me, and I can go down to your question. Do you think there's a major lesson that you personally are learning from this?
Well, I think there's probably several. I absolutely do feel and am conscious about gratitude for many things. You know, one is just even for my home, right? I'm so grateful for my home, and I'm extremely grateful for my income. I absolutely am trying to work on my relationships. And that would kind of segue into, and I'm also grateful for my relationship. Right?
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I so love that. Because a lot of people nowadays, because of the fear that goes to the roof, they they start to act wrong in the relationship. They cut off the communication. Their anger is released, between them and the people around them. So we might see more divorces than ever. We might see couples falling apart because they don't have the same goal all of a sudden, or because one of them just goes broke, So this is a major test. This epidemic is a major test for a relationship. So I'm really excited listening to you, emphasizing it in the wisest way,
Well, but I think that the challenge is, that the lessons are the ones that are difficult is to figure out, I don't know if I can articulate this right, but for example, with my son, if we have, it almost seems like we're oil and water. He is about 16 years old. And I just have to almost daily try to, just find whatever it is, whether it's balance or gratitude or boundaries. And I was really resonating with everything you were saying about boundaries. And so,
right.
And it's just like this really delicate dance of having boundaries, but also the thing you said about freedom. I mean, when I really felt like so many things, so many different concepts you said earlier, I was just really like, oh my gosh, because I also get what you're saying about, like, if he's 16 and he needs his freedom, and I'm his mother and I need my freedom, and we're just trying to
exactly.
Well, we're trying to work all that out, and it shows up real messy. But I do think we have pretty unbounding love, but it's absolutely awkward and uncomfortable. And then you throw us into a house for, coronavirus, stay-at-home orders, and we're around each other way more than we were. Gosh, we're just around each other lots more like all people. And so anyway, we go up, we go down. And so my question was going to be about just that, how can I possibly, I think it falls on me. I think I have the wisdom or experience to know it's really all about me. I mean, I know I can't change or do anything about him. So it all becomes, I feel like, my responsibility. And, when I work to set my boundaries, I think sometimes they come across as terse or short, because I'm not necessarily really good at setting those boundaries. I'm learning to set boundaries. And so I'm not as skillful as I wish that I was at setting boundaries. And then feelings get hurt and on and on. So it just is like the mess of love, right?
If you go back to your own family, your own mother and daughter, are we talking about boundaries being set then or not really? So you have to sometimes acknowledge that without even being aware, you might reflect an experience that happened to you between you and your parents, and it might be reflected in a relationship between you and your son. So sometimes, parents have a hard time, projecting the right connection with their kids because they've been victimized in their own youth, by the situation between them, their parents, or the relationship was not healthy, life or was dysfunctional, or, went beyond even setting boundaries. So how is the relationship that you remember as a young, as a child, as a teenager?
I just have to laugh. I just have to really laugh. So absolutely. And I think absolutely meaning I see that connection, and I see that, one of the things I've been working on, I've been doing some hypnosis, because I'm kind of like, I don't really want to do talk therapy. I'm telling you, everything you were talking about, I don't know if these were your words, but I think I do have an imprint, and I think I do have an unconscious program, and I'm trying to break that.
Without a doubt. The problem is that the majority of us, we live with the program believing that the program is nothing we can do about, and it has to stay within us. And that's false. We can break that problem. The moment when we turn our life around and really see a difference in the way we act and the way we relate and the way we turn around our faith and our luck and our relationship, is by shifting that program or rewiring the program completely. It's like exactly like you go and reprogram a computer, you delete all the files, and start from the scratch. And that can be done sometimes with the help of a hypnotherapy, but it also can be done in a conscious way by revisiting. So you see what I'm doing with you? I'm making you revisit something that happened and go there for a second and question yourself. Is my interaction between me and my son being a reflection of what happened to me in my youth? Don't go anywhere. I'll take a short break and I'll be with you in a minute. Don't go anywhere. We can continue. This is interesting.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
I'm Fidel Mshombo. I was born in a city called the Bukavu in the Congo. We were a loving family, and then, boom, everything that I had disappeared in a single day. People think that when you are a refugee and they resettle you to America, and all your problems are done. They don't understand that that's the beginning of everything. I was not born a refugee. I was made one.
It's time we welcome refugee families with open arms. Learn more at embracerefugees.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
And it's me, Carmen Harra, back on OMTime Radio. I think we have a great topic today because it's one of those concepts and ideas that are not enough introspected. And we're talking about a dysfunctional family, how to make them functional. In one way that has a lot to do with our family karma, is a relationship with our kids. And I feel that if you want your kid to succeed, and if you want to have a good connection with your child, which is actually the most powerful connection. I think the most powerful connection is mother-son, mother-daughter. All of the other relationships, the number one relationship that has more depth and more meaning is the relationship between a mother and a child. And you always have to be honest in your introspection, in reflecting your own past as a child, if you understand how you will treat your own kid. Very significant. You have to ask yourself, and I'm telling you, Bobby, you have to ask, were my parents always happy with me? You know, was there some jealousy there? Was there any resentful towards me or my path in life? But sometimes parents are never happy with whatever you try to do. They want you to do what they did, or they never see you enough successful, or they criticize you. So I'm going back to that question, Bobby, if you have an answer for me.
Okay, so the question is, do I remember something?
Anything significant that has to do with your soul evolution in conjunction with the relationship between you and your parents as a teenager. Anything between the age of 11 to the age of 17.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I think I had a lot of different things that occurred when I was a teenager. And
right.
I think that all those coming of age issues that my son is now facing, I'm doing my very best not to project things, but I think it's absolutely unconscious. And then
unconscious it is, yes.
But I do become aware of it, of course, because I'm an aware person. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is going on. And that's why I tried to enlist the help of hypnotherapist, neuro-linguistic programming person. And
right,
so, and
right.
then the coronavirus came, and now if we're going to do any work, we're going to have to do work via Skype or whatever. But anyway, I am open to that, and I absolutely do see those kinds of issues. And it's very frustrating to me because my love for my son is so enormous that I think, oh, God, please don't let me, put anything onto him that then he's going to have to negotiate. But I'll tell you, my kid is really, clear. And he will just say, I get this sense that he really wants to be free. And I think he's wanted to be free since he was about 12,
Right,
and
right.
So, and I'm kind of like, no, you're not old enough to be free, but these new kids, they're different, right? And so I think that it's going to be me letting go, and then trying to develop that trust that all is well. And also what you were saying about him, you were saying that let people have their own, I don't remember your words, but to let people have their own path, basically, and that you don't want to get in the way. I don't want to get in the way of his lessons, right? And all of that. So I just feel like I'm living all of that. And so I'm not sure that.
So what happens is that you have your own karmic path. He has his. And the family karma intertwine your path with his path. But you actually want to set boundaries so that you don't cross the path into his karmic path, because then you interfere with his own evolution. And one of the things that happens in a family, there's a lot of pride. People have pride without even acknowledging it. That was the number one, in my experience, cause of family problem is the pride in the family. So I'm proud because it's my mom, and my ego is making me sometimes being stubborn in the way I solve a problem. So pride comes between members of the family, sometimes in an ugly way, and sometimes it can devastate a family because people don't only see themselves, they dissociate it from the whole of the family. I don't know if you agree with me. So if he tells you something, your pride will respond and you will feel hurt. If he said something offending you, you will respond. That's your pride, That's the pride factor. Showing you, what I mean, how you embrace the situation at that low level of the ego. So, and it's exactly what Pam was asking me, We respond, unfortunately. We're not that evolved. That's why we're in this imperfect world. And we operate a lot at the ego level. So I think that for you to have the best relationship in which your love for your son will transcend everything is to constantly monitor your own pride in response to what you have to tell him, So don't let that pride to turn a small thing into a bad karma, in other words, And you might say, well, probably I'm not having that problem. But the fact of the matter is we all do at some point, in a small step without even realizing. So for whichever reason, I feel like telling you to pay attention to that. Because your son will change and people change. But change requires time. And I think the best way to allow your son to change is by showing him what change looks like, change him by giving him options and alternatives and allowing him to explore what you have to tell him, and don't be defensive if he doesn't get it, Very, very much, very often it's happened that parents are becoming defensive if the kids are not responding correctly to their messages. So, like rising above this type of a behavior is significant. And put yourself in his shoes. If he's saying something, Mom, I want to do this. For a second, think like he does. Can you do? Because that, I think, parents are very judgmental without realizing, because they don't think from the perspective of the child. They think from their perspective, say, well, I'm an adult, I know better, and you have to listen. That's the kind of an attitude that a parent has with a teenager. never a parent is putting himself in the shoes of the teenager, you know. Because
I understand. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I know he tells me, like I'm trying to say, let's say, you know, wait until, this is a perfect example. We talk a lot actually about sexuality and how I feel like it's important for him to wait and this and that. And he's like, Mom, you know, that's just not how it is, right?
Right,
but,
yeah.
But, I mean, somehow I can't, you know, I hear what you're saying, and I will work on it. You know, here's the rub. I don't want to come from my ego. That's really not who
exactly.
I am.
But there's another thing, Bobby, I want to tell you about. You know, we live in a country like United States where kids are taught independence, especially teenagers. Teenagers are told that they can be free, they have the right to drive a car, and they become, by that, you know, sometimes they become standoffish, you know, they become removed, you know, it's hard for them to develop a sense of the community because this independence takes over, which I think is completely different in European countries or in Latino countries when the concept of community is way more strong. So this has a lot to do with the way we relate to our kids here in America. So I really believe that we should take that into consideration. And also with your son, what comes in my head very strong is pay attention to external influences, you know, that are the cause of a lot of drama. And external influences are his friends, a girlfriend, someone else, a colleague at work. So pay attention who around him is influencing him, and don't necessarily try to make him cut off that connection, but be very mindful of this relationship, because sometimes outside influences can separate a mother from a child. Believe it or not, I've seen so many cases, and it's kind of disturbing to see that a mother that does everything to the extreme and then there comes someone, you know, just a girlfriend or just so-called best friend, and immediately the relationship mother-child has a lot to suffer. So I feel like telling you this to be an observer of your son's relationship with other people in the years ahead.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, I hope I didn't keep you way too long. I felt like telling you so many things.
Well,
so,
I appreciate it so very much. Thank you.
Okay, my lovely Bobby, call time. I'm here for you. Yes, so
okay. I love you, Carmen.
I love you, my dear. We were talking about how to turn a dysfunctional relationship. I've heard so much about dysfunctional people. And we have to go to the root of the problem and understand, you know what I mean, that family bonding can happen at any time. Whether it's gathering, whether it's social distancing, whatever it is. The bonding is significant, and it's a process of healing. And I think this is a time in which people can come together, in which people can acknowledge how important they are for another. Conflict, you know, sometimes can be an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to master your karma. It's an opportunity to develop greater trust, to develop intimacy in a family, it tightens the family bond. So if you have conflict in your family, you know, making sure that this is that key, you know what I mean, to open to love and to be as loving as possible and to be patient to one another and listen to one another and work on that respect that we have one another. That is so much missing inside families. And when we are missing all these elements, then we do create that negative karma that I'm talking about. So bonding can occur, as I said, at any rate, in any moment, and it's wonderful to work on bonding because you build that connection that sometimes is broken, and when you reconnect again, you make it even more powerful. And everything in this life is about family, and it's about living in a healthy environment with the people you love. And no one is more important at the end of the day than your family. So the less you look at working at forming bonds as a core, the less it becomes one. So change the mentality from I need to get along with this person to I want to get along with this person. So you see the difference. So putting effort into getting along with your parents and children because you want to, just because you have to, but put the I want to. I really want that very much. So look past the behavior that bother you. Look to the thing that can open your heart. So there's always a greater reason beyond the complication, beyond the disagreement. So value the people in your life. It is more than ever we need to acknowledge to value the people and value all the people that have been there for us in this difficult times. You know, humanity showed its best, and I am so moved and so impressed by all the first responders, by all the people out there who put their lives on the line, and we have to express love and gratitude and think of them like our family members. And talking about good karma, those people created the best karma ever. And I do believe that humanity will evolve through this difficult, crazy time and create a healthier world out there, more fair, more powerful world. And God bless you. I'll be with you same time, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on my favorite station on planet Earth, OMTimes Radio. I'm Carmen Harra. Thank you for listening.